I've debated for a few days if I wanted to share what I'm about to share. And the answer is yes, because I'm sharing it. And it took me a few days to actually put it in a place um, that made sense, that wasn't being like a 5-year-old with a tantrum, but really just about being seen, because that's so, or not seen, because it's so important. I believe that's something we all want. We want to be seen, we want to be known, we want to be understood, and it very often just doesn't happen. A few days ago, I walked into a restaurant with a friend and walked by. There was a large table that was filled with Unity ministers and leaders from Unity World Headquarters and Unity Community and Leaders Circle and Unity, the education program. And a couple of them looked directly at me, and then they looked away. And nobody said hello. Nobody acknowledged that I was there. And honestly, I know it sounds like that's kind of sad, and it is. And somebody said to me, "Wow, that was hurtful." And I had to think about that, because it wasn't really so much that it was hurtful. Like, that wasn't really even the saddest part. The saddest part for me was that I wasn't surprised. Um, I've learned over the years that at some point, when you've spent enough time asking inconvenient questions and challenging systems that are toxic, and challenging systems that just could take care of us better. And I say us, I'm also part of systems. But asking inconvenient questions, making people uncomfortable, or just refusing to pretend that things are fine. I'm not going to toe a company line that's, the emperor's new clothes or something like that. But when you do that, you learn something. And most of us are familiar with the phrase, "a prophet is not welcome in their village." And I'm one of those. I've joked with other friends. We tease each other about being apostates and heretics, but which is true, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Somebody needs to be the disruptor, and I'm pretty good at it. You don't win any like points for it, though. There's nowhere to like. You're not going to get a lot of these, but that's okay. It really is. But you stop expecting the welcome, but you do find the places where the welcome is welcome. And so it's not the rejection, but it's the adaptation, right? Learning to adapt to be in that kind of system as little as possible. But then yesterday, my phone rang, and it was a Be My Eyes call. If you're not familiar with Be My Eyes, it's an app. It's a video call app, and I volunteer for them. And really, the name of it is exactly what I do. I be someone's eyes. And it's called Be My Eyes because the person that's calling is asking me to be their eyes. They're visually impaired. And so here's a stranger who's visually impaired, either completely blind or partially, but they need help reading something. And so it is a video call. And what they do is they hold their phone, right, over something, and they point the camera at whatever it is that they can't see that they need me to read to them. And so for, it could be 3 minutes, it could be 15 minutes or longer, I become their eyes. And while they have their phone, the camera over whatever's in front of them, they're not quite entirely sure where the camera's pointing, what it's pointing at. So I have learned I have to be the director. And so I've had to learn how to word things in a way that can translate for someone who's visually impaired. Like you can't say move an inch or but I will say, move a little bit to your left, like maybe 2 fingers width. Move it down a bit, like, or a lot, like your like four fingers or something. But those kind of clues and directions until it's where I can actually see what they want. And I'll say, there it is. Just hold still right there. And I read them what's there. And oftentimes they'll go, oh, wait, I got something else. I want you to read for me. And I'm like, absolutely. Um, so when the call ended, I found myself thinking about these two very different experiences. A room full of people who could see me, they could see me perfectly, and a stranger who couldn't see me at all. And one looked right at me and chose not to engage. The other trusted me enough to help them navigate their world. And when that sort of dawned on me, it was just so powerful because I love being somebody's eyes. I really do. It's 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 just a little way I can again help someone navigate a world that like it's I think it's hard enough to navigate this world, and I can, I'm not visually impaired. I mean, I need reading glasses, but I'm not visually impaired. And here's someone that doesn't know me at all trusting me to navigate a world that they cannot visually see. It's beautiful. It's meaningful. It warms my heart. It warms all of me. It makes you just sort of forget bullshit. So maybe seeing has never been about eyesight. Not maybe, I'm pretty sure it's not been about eyesight. Maybe it's about, willingness. Maybe it's about whether we're willing to recognize another person's humanity when they appear in front of us. Maybe. And maybe the deepest sadness isn't being unseen. Maybe it's becoming so accustomed to it that you're no longer surprised. That makes my heart hurt more, to become accustomed to something. But thankfully, and ever so gratefully, now and then a stranger reminds me that genuine seeing still exists. Genuine seeing still exists.